June 25th, 2005, river rafting guide Robert Thompson was taking two clients down the Hula Hula River in Alaska. As they paddled along, they came to a campsite which had clearly been ransacked. As they looked up on the bank, they could see a tent which had been torn down and ripped up, and then also on the bank were two inflatable rafts that had been torn to pieces. So Robert wanted to check on whoever owned that campsite to make sure they were okay. So he pulled his raft with his two clients in it up to the bank, but no sooner had he done so when a 300-pound male grizzly bear came bounding out from behind the brush and charged them. So Robert pushed the raft back out into the current and started paddling away. But the bear did not stop chasing them at the river's edge. It jumped in the water and started swimming after them. And it swam after them for a full 15 minutes. Robert had never seen this level of aggression from a grizzly bear ever before, and he was getting ready to take some warning shots at it with his handgun when he thought twice about that. He thought, okay, this thing is clearly after us, and if it gets to us, I'm going to have to kill it, or else it's going to kill us. So he didn't want to waste the ammunition. Well, just as he was coming to this conclusion, the current in the river pushed that bear up against a rock. And when it did, the bear climbed up on that rock and just stared at them as they floated away, and it stopped chasing them. So at this point, Robert got out his satellite phone and he called authorities to tell them about what they had found at this campsite. So some wildlife officers got in a helicopter, they flew out there, they found the campsite. By the time they got there, the grizzly bear had got back to the campsite and was just milling around. There was stuff strewn out all over the place, and then interwoven with the remains of this tent, the officers thought they could see some human remains. So they landed the helicopter. When they did, the noise of the rotors scared the bear away. They got out, they went up to the tent, and sure enough, inside of it, they found the remains of 61-year-old Rich and 58-year-old Kathy Huffman. Both of them were deceased, and both of them were mostly consumed. As they were looking at these remains, the grizzly bear came back. It charged at the officers in the campsite. The officers fired at it 4 times, and they were able to kill the bear. They then conducted like a full investigation and were able to determine what had happened. So 2 days prior to them being found, the Huffmans had stopped a couple miles upriver. They had cooked their dinner a couple miles upriver specifically so that they didn't attract bears by the scent. After they were done eating, they floated down a few miles and set up their campsite. All their food and everything was in totes that are specifically designed to be scent-proof, to not attract bears. They did everything right. They set up their tent, and then the married couple went in and went to sleep. Rich even brought his .45-70 rifle in the tent to sleep with, and that's a rifle that's very capable of taking down a grizzly bear. But at some point in the middle of the night, the bear had come along. It had ripped open the side of the tent with its claws, charged inside, surprising both of them, and it killed both of them. Rich only had time to grab his rifle and cock his lever action, but he did not have time to fire. So the bear ended up consuming both of them over the course of the next day and a half until they were found by the river rafters. They did a necropsy on that bear, confirming that it was the bear that killed both Rich and Kathy and consumed both of them. Being 300 pounds, it was a little bit underweight. I wasn't able to find much other information on the bear's health, but 300 pounds is fairly small for an adult male grizzly bear.